Success is a very strong word. Many of us run behind it, most of us want to conquer it. Oxford Dictionary defines success as the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. This is a definition of success theoretically, but in reality, success means something that one has attained through overcoming hardships, which brings happiness and lastly keeps us motivated to keep rising against all odds. Success is a journey that continues even after attaining your goals in life. Small yet determined step towards your goals will ultimately take you closer to your corporate success. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Socially Desi Show, the podcast that motivates you to live, create and inspire. If this is your first time here, welcome. On our show, we discuss tips and strategies with our guest speakers on how to tackle problems related to personal growth, mental health, relationships, entrepreneurship, and health and fitness. So hit that subscribe button and go check out our website at sociallydesi.com for more of such content. Today, I'm joined by Mitadru Dey. He's the Vice President, Global Credit Risk Middle Office at JPMorgan Chase. He has a vast experience in developing and uplifting heterogeneous teams towards goal alignment and is also a subject matter expert in design thinking, global risk strategy, risk analysis, and data governance. Hello, Mitadru. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anurag, and the Socially Desi team for inviting me. You have been doing a wonderful and timely work to inspire and engage your audience. It's my privilege to be on this show. So I'm really excited to talk to you and your listeners.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mitadru. And it's a pleasure to be hosting you on the show today, especially during these times when, a lot of people in the corporate world are facing challenges in their work and they're not sure about their own future. So I believe today's episode will shed some light onto the topic and people would gain a lot of insights as to how they can succeed in the whole corporate game and how they can improve themselves as a human being overall while aiming for that success. So Mitadru, before we jump into the discussion, to our audience who are not aware about you, why don't you tell us about your journey into the corporate world?
Sure. Before I answer these questions, I must mention that what I'm going to share is my opinion and does not reflect my organization's view.
Completely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. While growing up in a small town in West Bengal near Calcutta, my career aspiration was to become an IAS officer.
Mm-hmm.
I was heavily influenced by one of my seniors in the locality. He was like role model to all of us. So early days in school, I hooked on to competition success review. I believe that magazine is still there. So I used to review those magazine and prepare for the questions, which at some time in future, I would be answering.
Okay.
So with that aim in mind, I went to Delhi to do MA in economics from JNU. So my goal was to do my MPhil and take up a research associate job. However, I was not selected for MPhil and never got an interview for a research associate job, though my grade was not that bad. And I was little low at that point because I was living with my juniors in a hostel room, still taking money from my parents. I did not like it. I wanted to do something on my own. So I called up my friends in Bangalore. They were working in different corporations. And I said, listen, can I apply in your company? They were a little surprised as I never sat for campus interviews. And so they may ask, like, are you sure you want to do this? I said, yes, I'm 100% sure I want to try and corporate. And if it works out, definitely, I would like to pursue that career. So then I applied for a job, a couple of interviews. Then I got selected for a role as a business analyst in Bangalore in an MNC. And yes, the journey began 15 years back.
Wow, that's great. And what were the initial challenges that you faced? Like you said, you never appeared for any of these campus recruitments and other job opportunities. So what were the initial challenges when you started your career in the corporate world?
My first challenge at my first job was I did not like it. I did not like the way I was trained. and I did not like people around me. I thought I'm not fitting in here. So after a few months, I decided I have to quit this job and search for a better one. And again, I was very young that time, and a little bit of overconfident, and then thought, okay, I got a job. I had a degree from JNU, so I'll easily get another job. So it did not happen. Um, I I struggled for 3 months without having a job. There were days I did not have any means to eat. I applied for 40 roles across Bangalore, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai in different organizations. It didn't work out. And
Wow.
then finally, I got through JPMorgan and Chase.
Okay.
And that's where I've been still continuing. And when I started my work in JPMorgan, there were a few challenges. First and foremost, I studied in Bengali until my university days. So English was a big challenge for me because I was talking to my customers in the United States, and I did not understand some of the words they were saying. I did not understand their accent. And there were times when I was in a conference call with my seniors, with my stakeholders and clients. I had the answers to their questions,
Hmm.
but could not answer because I thought, oh, what if I said something wrong? People will make fun of me. So
Yeah.
it was a big challenge, when I started my corporate career.
Hmm. Interesting, because a lot of people these days, they also get these kind of issues when they start, in an organization where they feel that there's a foreign language involved and they might not be able to do that. So, what are your, thoughts on this, and what would you like to tell to all these young corporate employees with your own experience regarding this particular issue?
So regarding communication, what helped me was I enrolled myself for different trainings within our organization. Those days there were trainings to help on communication. So I did that. I My manager was very helpful. He told me, you just speak. I mean, don't think too much about whether you're speaking right or wrong, because unless and until you practice, you speak, you will never be confident. So I do that. Now, at this time, one thing I would advise, and this helps me because I still work on my communication because it's something you need to keep practicing.
Yep.
Uh, there is an organization called Toastmasters International, which have presence in 115 countries, including India, where one can practice public speaking.
Hmm.
Um, and that's how I started my Toastmaster journey in New York, because though I was good in communication in India, but when I moved here, that was one of the challenges. So I would suggest that if you have Toastmasters, and these days you can do anything online,
Yep.
you can enroll for that and you can practice. And again, it's not something where you go and talk. There is a method, there is a process, there is a discipline where you will speak for 5 to 7 minutes. Someone will evaluate you, someone will give you feedback, but all in a friendly environment. So that would be my advice. You need to practice with a group of friends, group of colleagues, and it's just practice that will help you. And don't get afraid, because we are not perfect. We may say a few things which are wrong, which is fine as long as you're able to communicate what you're trying to say. We should be fine.
Hmm. And you also spoke about that you left India and went to New York. So why New York? What inspired you to look for a job in New York?
So I was in my career for almost 6.5 years.
Hmm.
At that point, I was working in Mumbai in JP Morgan, and I got an opportunity to migrate a process from London to Mumbai.
Okay.
And as part of migration, I had to travel to London. That was a life changing experience, because until then I used to speak to my clients over phone,
Okay.
and now I'm in a meeting room in London talking to those clients. It was a different environment, and it definitely boosted my relationship with those clients. And London is one of the big financial hubs, so that also attracted me. So I decided, after I went back to India, spent some time and thought, okay, if I want to continue in financial services, perhaps I should give it a shot for international mobility.
Mhm.
Though New York was not my first choice to begin with because it's so far from India, it takes almost a day if I have to, go to India from New York.
Yep.
So my preference was London and Singapore because we had our presence there.
Mhm.
Um, so what I did was first I prepared kind of business case where I mentioned like what are the skill sets I have, and then what are the how I'm going to add value to the organization abroad. Because oftentimes, and I did that as well. We think about okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, but it is also important to think about what values you're giving to the organization. What are organization goals and strategies?
So true. Yeah.
So I created this case, business case, where I used to talk to different managers in London, Singapore, New York, uh, talking about this is my skill set, this is I have done, these are the things that I think I can add value if I join your team. Um, and then it took me 2 years to get a job in New York. And this something happened because one of my senior managers who was in Singapore moved to New York, and he knew my work. And then he mentioned that there's an opportunity here. Would you like to come? And I said yes, 100%. And my manager helped me as well. As I mentioned, I had little doubt because it's too far from India. But he said, New York is the hub of the financial services, and it's the headquarter of our organization. So you will never regret this decision. And that was, I think, again, one of the best decisions for me to move to New York again, which has progressed, helped me progress in my career.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to see that, you went after this opportunity for 2 years. And, I see a lot of people these days in the corporate world who try to apply for these kind of on site opportunities, whether they are working for an IT company or some other consulting company, and they give up so soon. I mean, the millennial, the generation today, I feel they're giving up too soon on their future dreams, and like looking at you and the way you are pursuing your career, and you actually went and tried it for 2 years before getting an opportunity to go abroad. What do you have to say about this mentality, like people giving up so soon in their career?
Yes, I think there, and you mentioned about success at the beginning of the podcast. So, if you really define success, so there are two parts. One is obviously your hard work, your skill set, and then the opportunity, right? And there, not necessarily you have a lot of controls because there are decision makers, and they have to see that value in you, and then you become successful. You get to places. So, for me, in my career, perseverance, patience have been
Hmm.
key ingredients because I knew that even if I'm ready, but unless and until there is an opening, there is an opportunity for me where they need me, it will not happen.
Right.
I that's what I kept at it. I said, okay, I'm not going to lose anything because anyways I was doing well in my career. Everything else was happening, but I had this goal in my mind that I have to pursue this, and perhaps that also helped the decision maker to hire me in New York because that person saw that he's someone he has not given up, and this is someone I need in my team because. You need to be patient, you need to persevere because without hard work, patience, nothing works. For example, if I give an analogy of you want to build a six packs,
Hmm.
you cannot go to a gym and get it done overnight. You need to put a lot of effort, you need to listen to your trainer, you need to watch your diet, you need to exercise, then it will happen in due course of time. So you need to give that time to make it happen, and assess it before you enter into this. You assess that okay, this is something it's not easy to do, and I need to give 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and it will happen. You just need to be patient and keep doing good work.
And I also believe that you also have to build your competencies along the way. I mean, you can't be stagnant in your career and think that, when the opportunity arrives, then I will be the one to be picked by the organization. So I believe competencies also play a great role in order for you to grow in your whole career journey.
That's absolutely right, because as you have seen, and I'm sure all our listeners have noticed that, especially with technology, it's changing so fast. I remember when I started my career, so we used to talk about C++ and other language. We still talk about that, but now we talk about Python, for example. So you need to understand what are some of the skill sets you need to ensure that you are improving. You're improving your skill sets. You are not stagnant. Every year, what I do personally, which helps me, is that I block 30 minutes of my time every 2 weeks,
Okay.
just to go over, okay, this is my career goal. These are the skills that I have. These are the skills that I don't have. These are the training I have to do. And that really helps, instead of waiting for the appraisal time, which happens once or twice a year, or your manager asks, then you're ready. That that these are the thing I want to learn. This is things I want to improve on, and that really helps. I think planning is key, and then note down what are some of the skill set that you have to learn to be successful in your current job, also to be successful in your next job. Uh, because then your skill set speaks for yourself. You don't have to sell that you're good at this, good at that. When people ask you questions, you will answer those with confidence and knowledge, and that's very important.
So true, Mitadru, and I completely agree with what you are saying. So now coming back to your journey into the corporate world, when you started working in New York and you started climbing that ladder in the corporate world, what were your initial challenges when you became a team lead?
So one of the challenges of team leader, actually, I faced it much before I came to New York, which was early in my career. I was a good performing team member for 3 years into my career, and I thought, okay, so I'm now a good team member. So my next step is to become a team lead. Now, what I did not do was that I did not prepare well enough to be a team lead, because becoming a team lead is a different ballgame altogether.
Yep.
I thought, since I'm a well performing professional team member, I could become a well performing team. It doesn't work that way. Um, I struggled as a team lead, because I used to distribute work to my team, and they used to never get back to me on time. Also, I was not getting 100% from them, and I tried different things which did not work out. For example, I used to take them out for lunch and dinner. So I said, okay, let's have team bonding
Hmm.
activities, and I thought that would help, but it did not. And then one thing happened. So my manager's manager, his name is Sukumar, and he played a great role of a mentor in my career. So that time he was my manager's manager, and he had a meeting with my team just to understand how I am doing as a team leader.
Okay.
Though I expect that my team will say, "Wow, he's a great team lead, and we are so happy." I thought they would give me reasonable feedback that, okay, he's okay. After he had the meeting, the first thing he told me was, until that meeting happened, I was in fool's paradise. I did not know what he meant. So I looked up on Google, like, what does fool's paradise mean? And when I understood the meaning, I was devastated. I was dejected. Because as I mentioned, I was very good as a team member. Then I got this feedback, as a team lead. I thought perhaps that's the end of my career,
Hmm.
and I was disappointed, so dejected. I was almost on the verge of quitting the job. And he was a great people manager. He observed that, and he called me one day, he sat me down, and he said, listen, it's very important for you to understand, as a team lead, you're not only in charge of your career, but you are also in charge of all the careers of your team members. So you really need to think from their perspectives. You need to put them in their shoes and understand what are the challenges they're going through, what are their strengths and weaknesses. You need to build that trust, because unless and until you build that trust, they will not work for you. So that learning I had almost 12 years back helped me working on my leadership skill. And that really helped me all the leadership roles I have played in India and right now in New York.
Interesting. And Mitadru, there was this report by McKinsey a couple of months back, if I remember. That report
Mhm.
actually spoke about the challenges that a lot of managers are facing during this work from home scenario, especially during the pandemic. And in that report, I was looking at a few numbers which were very, very interesting to see that a lot of managers, they actually thought that managing their team, especially during this work from home scenario, is the toughest part of their job right now. So, any tips that you would like to give to all the managers out there? How should they manage their team in this whole work from home scenario?
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned about the McKinsey report. I was also reading another report from McKinsey, and especially in current scenario, mental health
Hmm.
is so much importance. And their report, there is an estimated cost that we are incurring, which is 16 trillion by 2030, if we don't take care of the mental health situation. So yes, it's very important. So some of the things I started doing as a manager, first and foremost, when pandemic started, I used to have daily check-ins with my team members, and I have a team in New York, London, Singapore, so all over the world. So I used to have daily check-ins with them, again, just to instant message them and ask like how you are doing. Is there anything I can help you with? And I did not talk about work. Secondly, when I used to have team meetings, before pandemic, it was always, running into the agenda. Okay, your business objectives, KPI reports. But I started having 15 minutes of just general chat. So that we just used to chat and talk about how things are, what are some of the challenges we are going through, and I got feedback from some of my team members that really helped them loosen up and not just always talk about work, work, and work. Another thing is meeting management, which I started implementing during this pandemic. Is so I really assess, a, do I really need to be in a meeting, and I say the same thing to my team members as well, that we get so many meetings, we spend so much time in meetings, but really ask that, are
Hmm.
you adding value? So if you get a meeting invite, ask yourself, ask the person who is sending you. If the answer is yes, you are adding a value, you need, yes, please join. If not, then say no, I don't think I'm going to add a value,
Yeah,
but you may, maybe one of my peers, you should invite that person.
so true.
So I think you need to say no when we are not adding value and just go with the flow. I mean, that really helps. Third thing is, taking breaks.
Hmm.
I not work for 3, 4, 5 hours without having any food. No, I mean, you can't do that. Take breaks in between, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then recharge yourself. Again, within the break, you can talk to your family, since most of us, I think, working from home, just talk to your parents, your spouse, your children, do some activities, then have lunch with them. So those are the things, really, ease you, calm your mind. And then obviously we need to continue to work. That will happen. But I think we also need to understand that, if you're not happy, your mental state is not correct, you cannot be productive. So I think doing all those things might help as a manager to help manage the team. And last but not the least, if you're a global manager, you have managing teams, or for that matter, you have stakeholders. Also, be cognizant of the time zone. For example, if we let's say for me, if I have a meeting with team in India, I need to be aware of their start time and end time.
Yep.
So I'm more conscious about that. And I see how much I can do from my part to have meetings which is in within their shift timing or time zone. Uh, so just be aware of that. I think that helps. Um, It's again, everything is boils down to just understand, which I mentioned. My manager Sukuma taught me that understand from where your team members are coming from, understand their strength and weaknesses, understand how you can help. And again, there are times that you may not help them. Refer them to mentors.
Yeah.
You may not be good at everything. Like, let's say if I'm not good at creating metrics or some technical skill set, as a manager, I know whom my team members can go and seek help. So be resourceful. I mean, that really helps. And listen. I think always, I think as a manager, it's very important time more than speaking, just listen. Because if you listen and listen, I mean, that's why I use the word listen, not hear. If you listen and if your team member understand that this is someone who is listening, definitely it will help. And as I mentioned, like bonding the trust, and then your productivity will increase.
So true, so true. And I guess this is a power tip for all our socially desi listeners, like especially if you are in a managerial position, reach out to your team members and try to help them. And like Mitadru said that you mean it's not possible for you to know everything. So try to guide them to a mentor who can actually guide them in the right direction instead of you trying to solve each and every problem of theirs. And apart from this, I guess this goes the other way around also. So for the team members and people who are, working under a manager, seek out help. I mean, it's not a shame to ask for help. I see a lot of people, and in fact, when I was working for corporates, sometimes it happened with me also that I used to feel ashamed, or maybe some sort of an ego used to come in between that, oh, for this issue I would not go to my manager to seek out help, or I will not go to some other team to find out how do I solve this problem. So Mitadru, what's your take on this? How can we solve this situation?
So, as a team member, I think you're right. It's very important to seek help. And one thing I have seen and I've experienced is that sometimes um, you expect your managers or your supervisor colleagues to understand what you're going through, but it's not always be the case.
Yeah.
Because if that your manager is not someone who is a great people manager, he or she will not understand from where you're coming from.
Right.
So it's really it's important to assess where you are, assess the situation, assess the people you are working with,
So true.
and that really helps. So, for example, let's say if I know that my manager is not a great people manager and he's good with another skill, I will go to him for that skill. But for my need to have a good coach, I may go to someone else. So networking is very important in that case, like getting to know what are some of the resources. Okay, if you are not very I would say feel conscious that you need to reach out to someone and what he or she will see if your manager. Then you figure out like what are some other resources we have,
Mhm.
right? And this is obviously there are so many resources available online. There are so many trainings out there.
Yep.
So I think it's very important to utilize all those resources. And no one can succeed on his own. We all need help. We all succeed, as a team,
Mhm.
because that's the important, and it's always important. And earlier, we talked about competency. Is that understand what is the goal of your organization, what is the goal of your team, and then work towards it. And if you do that, you will see automatically help will come on your way. And that's very important. So I would advise that if you need anything, if you're not getting, just look around, talk to people who you're comfortable with. Find mentors. It's very important finding mentors, because that really helped me, where you can get unbiased opinion about your work. Because obviously, if you go to a manager, I mean, that person knows how you work. But if you go to a third party who is not involved with your work, you always get an interesting and important opinion that really helps to succeed in your career.
So true, so true. And sometimes, but I feel even after doing so many things, people are still not satisfied. Let's say somebody who is not yet satisfied with his current particular job or role that he's doing, and he cannot change it for some reason because of this whole COVID situation. So, any tips for that person? How can they maneuver their career?
So let's say you are in current situations, and yeah, you cannot change your job. So first and foremost, I think you really need to understand, and this is COVID or no COVID, that is this something you really want to do? Again, I think that's often it happens that when we decide to pursue a career, it is influenced by our parents, it is influenced by our friends, it is influenced by what is good in the industry. So I think it's important to understand if this is something you really want to do, and you can assess that, and analyze that, and spend, again, you need to spend some time doing that.
Mhm.
And if the answer is yes, that this is something you really love and enjoy, and then figure like why you are not enjoying. Like what are some of the factors? Is it they're not helpful? Is it you are not getting enough training? So if your manager is not helpful, again, sometimes it helps to have an open conversation. Because I remember I had one manager years back, and I did not like the way he was treating me, and I was frustrated. And again, I was not in a position to again leave my job based on my first experience of leaving the job without having work. I did have a open chat with my manager, and I said, I have this problem, and I think the way you are interacting, I don't like, because I sometimes feel humiliated. And then he listened to me and he canceled all his meetings. We spent 2 hours just talking it out. And then I had a great relationship with the manager until he was in the organization. So sometimes, again, we keep a lot of things within ourselves and bottle up. I think we need to just let go and again, talk to people. Also, another aspect of, looking at things, let's say, again, I mean, it's just talking about the manager perspective, because there are statistics which shows that 60 to 70% of the time people leave their job because of their management
Yeah.
and not anything else, right? And understand also their perspective, because see, your manager is also human, right? This manager is also maybe going through certain situation and difficulty in his career or in his life, so be empathetic to him, show empathy, right? And if you see that show empathy, then manager will understand, and then you will get that empathy back. Also, let's say you are getting a negative feedback, and there are two parts when you get a negative feedback. One is the emotions coming with that, and second is the facts and figures. So again, if you become objective and you set aside the emotion, just look at facts and figures. What that facts and figures, does it make sense? Because again, we all need to improve. And so if you extract those facts and figures and keep that emotion aside, then you will grow. So you can try this techniques, and that might help. And again, continue to network. And now again, we are all working from home, so there is a great opportunity. Use different sources. For example, LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can network with a lot of people. But also, I would suggest that when you reach out to someone on LinkedIn with whom you haven't interacted, introduce yourself, like why you are trying to reach out to him on LinkedIn. Because oftentimes I know I get a lot of requests, and sometimes I also get requests where the person tells me the background, the content, like why that person is reaching out to me.
Yeah.
So that's really
It's really important. Like, even I sometimes get a lot of requests of people just trying to connect, and it feels weird. I mean, an unknown person trying to connect on LinkedIn, there has to be some motive behind it, or maybe they want to connect for some business or networking, or they must know you from somewhere. They must have met you somewhere. At least we should know the context why somebody is connecting on a professional network website. So yeah, I mean, that's a very good pro tip for all our listeners out there. Again, make sure that whenever you reach out to anybody on LinkedIn, put in an effort and curate a custom message for them, along with the connect request that you send, you can always add a note on that. So it really helps, and it actually gives a good repo actually when you put out a good message. Somebody who reads it, and especially if Mitadru is saying that, that means he also values those kind of notes which come in. So at least it gives you a good perspective up front. It's like your first impression is made already.
Right. And LinkedIn is the new resume. So now these days people look up your LinkedIn profile, be it recruiter or be it someone who wants to connect with you, and based on that obviously people make judgments. So it's very important to build a good LinkedIn profile, highlight your key achievements, and then headline, right? Because that's key, like who you are, like what your brand is. So it's very important to put it out there so that it, it summarizes like who you are as a professional.
So true. And this is, I guess, one of the impacts of this whole pandemic. And this has actually changed the way we look at resumes, in 2020 now. Uh, uh,
Yes.
so, what are the other impact that this pandemic has had in the workplace? Like, if we have to talk about the future of workplace, what do you feel has this whole pandemic impacted?
One thing, and I was just thinking about this as well, and it's a cliched word that change is the only constant thing in the world,
Yeah.
right? And we have seen this happenings, and the cycle comes. I'm sure that when computer came, everyone was, oh, I'm going to lose my job. What will happen? Computer will do everything. But no, we all have jobs. It's just the nature of jobs changed.
Yeah.
So that's the happens with all this technology, digitization. And by the way, again, I was reading another McKinsey report, which says that 70 to 80% increase in digitization in financial services sector ever since pandemic started. So again, you embrace the change, understand how you can work online. I think with pandemic in flight, we are going to see changes, the strategy between working from office versus working from home. Again, I don't think we all are going to working from home after this pandemic. No, we again, there are certain jobs you cannot do at home, and also it is important that we go to work, we meet individuals, we collaborate, because again, technology is advanced now, but you still cannot replace the in-person camaraderie
Yep.
that we all have when we are all together in a workplace. So I think so there will be an amalgamation of working from home and working from office, where maybe you go to work a couple of days, then working from home. So be ready for that. And if you're working from home, I think it's very important to have a discipline in place.
Yeah.
You need to have a designated place. You cannot work one day from a couch, another day from a dining table, another day from somewhere else, right?
So
And
true.
that's I practice, and it helped me because my wife works from home, before pandemic as well. So she helps me, disciplined around working from home. So I have a designated place. I change my dress as well. Again, that gives me a feeling that I'm now going to start the work.
Yeah.
I write my to-dos the day before so that I know what I'm going to start with, because at the morning you have your maximum productivity, you're fresh in your mind. So you need to do all your important and creative work as much as possible in the morning. So I do that. And as mentioned, I take breaks and I start working at 8, I finish at 5.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, in fact, it's a salute to all the women out there who help us men get better every day. So, in fact, when this pandemic started, even I initially started working from my bed itself. So, I'll just open up my laptop, sit on my bed whole day, and just do some work. But then slowly my mother also, she kept on telling me that this is not good for your health, and you might develop some sort of a neck pain or a back pain. So at least have a you already have a working table. Why don't you use it? Sit there, and slowly it took some time for me. And but then and even now I've started to work from my desk itself. And right now we are recording, and I'm still sitting on my desk. So I guess to all the women, it's a great shout out, and thank you very much for helping us get better, especially all the men.
Yes, yes. Absolutely. Again, we are again talking about mental health. I think it is also very important to take care of your physical health as well. So what I have started doing also yoga, and that's something I picked up end of last year
Hmm.
because I realized that in long term, this is something I can continue.
Right.
Instead, relying on gym, because again, I don't know whether I'll have gym everywhere I go, and that really helped me. So every morning I do 20 to 30 minutes of yoga, and then that's been great because now we do not have chairs, which is perfect, like we get it in the office. So I knew that if I don't take care of my health, it will create back pain and other pains in the body. So it's very important, I think, for all of you to do some stretching, do some exercise. Even if you do for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
That it will help you to be in great shape, because last thing you want is to fall sick.
Right. So true. And how long have you been working from home?
It has been 6 months that I have been working from home, and thanks to some of the mindfulness practices I do, and I've been continuing, and it's funny that it has been 200 days.
Hmm.
I have not stepped outside, and I don't feel like I have to get out. And because when I talk to a lot of people and I see that I want to get out, but I don't feel that way because everything is here. My work, and then after work, other activities, projects I work on, everything is happening. So it's been going well, and the mindfulness practices I do.
And what about your friend circle? What are they saying? Aren't they cursing you to come and meet them?
Oh, they do. So I think first thing uh, these days, whenever I speak, not only friend circle and my boss also, he keeps counting whenever I have my one-on-one. He asks first question, have you gone out or not? Okay, then one more day. So they keep telling me that why don't you go out? And I said, see, I don't see the need. It's not like if I have to, I will, but I don't see the need that I have to get out to feel happy. I have to get out to feel peace. No, I am getting everything at home.
Hmm. True, true. Yeah, I guess a lot of people in India, especially the corporates who are working from home, they are still not going out. But like you said, there are businesses who can't afford to stay at home. So I see a lot of people in Delhi NCR, especially a lot of things have opened up. So India is in unlock situation. So everything is opening up here, and people are moving out. But yes, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about making sure that you take prior precautions while
Yes.
going out. And even if you have to meet somebody, make sure that you maintain that social distancing, have your masks on and all. So these kind of things, I believe now people are trying to incorporate in their lives as a daily normal. So like washing their hands, and making sure, like what we do is, like if just in case I have to go out for some emergency or meet somebody, or if I have to go and get some
Mhm.
groceries, so we have like a set of shoes and slippers that we keep outside our home. So whenever we are going out, we wear them, and we just put them outside itself so nothing comes in. So all these small things we also do, and make sure that everyone is safe and sound here. But apart from this,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on work-life balance during this whole pandemic situation? Because I see a lot of people, because since we are talking about mental health, a lot of people initially thought, when the whole pandemic lockdown started in India, especially, people thought that, oh wow, it's a extended vacation. And initially it felt like an extended vacation for 1 month. But post that, people
Mhm.
started facing these mental issues, anxiety. A lot of people went into depression, and the amount of working hours, I believe, they rose to a different level. And people didn't realize this, so people were eating, drinking, working, eating, drinking, working. So it was just very monotonous, and it felt weird for a lot of people. So what are your thoughts on work life balance?
Anurag, you're right, because work-life balance and stress, I think it is at all-time high because of the current situations. And I know that, I think challenges in India is far more than here, because in India you have smaller rooms and smaller flats where you have like multiple, like your husband, wife are working and your children is around. and it's very difficult to concentrate, on work. So I definitely salute everyone in India, because I know I have my team in India, and I don't see that productivity drops at all. So I think everyone out there who is working from home and maintaining their productivity, I think it's a huge achievement. So first, I want to recognize that. I think all of you out there, working from home with your families, doing a great job, and this is difficult. Now, talking about work-life balance, so this is something I conducted a poll on LinkedIn a few months back. I asked that, okay, during pandemic, like, what are some of the challenges you're seeing? And work-life balance was a clear winner. 40% people. That's something we are struggling with. Uh, Now that led me to do some research, read some articles, like really trying to understand, because I heard this term work-life balance, and ever since I started working, but I really did not delve deeper to understand what this is all about. Um, for example, when I started working, and I remember I used to work long hours, including weekends, because those days I did not have BlackBerry or laptop. So I used to think, oh, okay, if someone sends me an email on Saturday, I cannot respond. So let me go to work. So I used to go to work almost 7 days. And I remember people used to tell me, oh, you don't have work life balance. I used to say, you know what? Work is my life. So I don't need any balance. I don't think I can say that now, but early in my career, it just all work for me. Now, when I think about work-life balance, again, I think I have problem with this term work-life, because it's like you're segregating work and life, and since life is more precious, it's like work, creating problem in that. So to me, it's all boils down to life management, because you not only work at your office, you also work at home, you're continuously working. So I think we need to really think about better management of our life or lifestyles, for that matter. And all the articles I read about work-life balance, I think the focus is on managing stress, because obviously there are a lot of mental agitations which people are going through. So, and then if you go deeper, if you really look at like what is stress, and that's something my philosophy teachers define. The stress is nothing but agitation which caused by unfulfilled desires. And what I mean by unfulfilled desires is, so let's say, uh, if I'm sure there are listeners who have children, and you may stress that your child is not studying properly. Now, it's not that issue about studying, child is not studying properly, but it's like, okay, he doesn't study properly, he will not go to a good school. If he doesn't go to a good school, he will not get a good job. He doesn't get a good job, he will struggle with finance. If he struggles with finance, he will not get a proper partner. So it goes on, and that's all causes us stress, because we either think about worries of the past or get anxious about the future. And so to combat that, I have been studying philosophy for last 4 years. So that really helps me to have some mindfulness practices, and that comes from Vedanta, which is an ancient philosophy about life and living. And again, for those who do not know what Vedanta is, so so I'm sure a lot of people know about Vedas. So Vedanta is the last portion of Vedas. It means, which is the Veda means knowledge, Anta means end, so which is end of knowledge, culmination of knowledge, which talks about better life and living. So I've been learning Vedanta for 4 years, and that really helped me coping up with the current situations of stressfulness. So few things I would suggest I do, which has been helping me, is practicing yogas. Now, earlier I talked about yoga, which is physical asana, so it's not that. So so there are three yogas which are defined in Vedanta. Again, Bhagavad Gita, which is also a Vedantic literature, which is karma yoga, which is path of action, bhakti yoga, which is path of devotion, and jnana yoga, which is path of knowledge. So karma yoga, which is path of action, that's we always practice. And in a nutshell, what it tells us about is that how you can reduce your selfishness. while performing your task. So, for example, when you're working, if your thought is on, okay, I need to get this promotion, I need to get more salary, you will be agitated, you will be stressed. But if you shift your focus to, okay, how I can benefit the organization, how I can benefit my team, if you shift that focus, your stress level will automatically go down, your productivity will increase. And the moment you move from being selfish to unselfish, your capacity to contribute will increase significantly. And again, this you can practice at work. This you can practice at home. For example, just listen to your family members instead of thirsting your views on them. Like, I want this, I want that. Let's say, your wife wants to have Thai food, you wants to have Indian. So listen to her and have Thai food. So it's as simple as that. So if you practice these things, and you just and you talked about ego earlier, in our
Yeah.
discussion, to check on that, I mean, that gives a huge boost, right? So that's something we can all practice. I do study in the morning for 1 hour. So
Mhm.
I get up in the morning, I don't look at my mobile, laptop, nothing. So I study. I'm doing an e-learning on Vedanta. So I listen to the lecture, I take notes. So that's my first thing in the morning, which talks about higher values in life. And that really inspires me to start my day. And it's been very helpful. And then throughout the day, I talked about karma yoga, which is just action. And then there's a part of devotion. And when I say devotion, I I mean is that just have an attitude of gratitude, because if I have a job today, I should be thankful because there's so many people who don't have job, right? And I need to be mindful about that. So again, you listen to music which inspires you. You can watch some nature documentary that I mean that really calms you down instead of watching things which agitate you more. And I would like to quote which I listened, a few days back
Mhm.
from a author called Cicero. He says, gratitude is the greatest of virtues and the parent of all others. So if you don't have gratitude, you will be agitated. So you need to be, one who needs to be thankful about things, you have in your life. And then you aspire for more. Um, Last thing I would say about work-life balance is that give appropriate value to each activity, because oftentimes we give unnecessary values and exaggerated values to activities which is not required. So Anurag, when you were a teenager, you were in high school, all that mattered to you was getting a good score in exam, right?
Yeah.
And you must be anxious on the day before the exam, day before the result, right? Like, what marks would you get, what will happen if I don't get good marks, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And if you look back now, what's the value of that? Do you have a lot of values, or maybe, yeah, it was okay, but it's not like that it made or break your life, right?
Yeah, I mean, it like when I look back now, I think all those tension that I took on myself was not worth it. I mean, the kind of agitation and fear of the result was not worth it. So I could have done better.
Right. So similarly, I think we are doing a lot of things and we take stress and unnecessary pressure, but again, if you fast forward 3 years down the line, you will see that it is not worth of it. So again, if you have that perspective, yes, I'm not saying that you don't care, you just do things half-heartedly, no, but you give it appropriate value. It's okay that okay, it's not 100%. Okay, if you're 80%, that's fine. Just move on and do next thing. Just hold on to something because it was not done perfectly. You will get plenty of opportunities to do things perfectly in future. So just have that perspective. This is not end of life. So if you are like you prepare your mind like that, that really helps. And again, I think we have been talking about this. We need to talk to people. We need to reach out. We need to help each other. Just listen, and that really helps you. Calm your mind down.
So true. And also, Mitadru, on your LinkedIn profile, you have mentioned that you're a pro bono career coach. Please tell us about that.
Sure. As I talked about gratitude, I have been fortunate to have so many teachers, mentors helping me in my career, helping me in my life. So this is my way of assisting others who are struggling in their careers, or even if not struggling, they want to improve. So I, as a pro bono coach, pro bono is very much US term we use, which means it's free, right?
Yep.
I'm a career coach. One can approach me on LinkedIn to solve certain problems. Then I set up sessions with that individual, and then we work it out. And we talk about issues, and I suggest some tips, and then the person comes back. So yeah, it's just a mentoring, coaching initiative that I have with 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 my fellow professionals. I mean, that's the least I can do to repay all the help I have been receiving since the beginning of my journey. Also, I'm very um, much interested to do how much I can to help people, especially on communication. As I mentioned early in my career, where I did not study English until my university days. So that's something I know there are a lot of people out there who do not feel that confidence. And when I go to India, I go to my college in that small town, and when I talk to students, I still hear them saying that, "Oh, I think it is very difficult what you're doing." And I say them, no. I mean, if I was in your shoes, I used to sit on at those benches, and if I have done it, you can do it. So I'm working on a project where, and it will be a pilot,
Mm-hmm.
and I have created a module on communication. It starts from simple English, like how to, be good at grammar, simple, sentence structure, and it goes down to public speaking, impromptu speaking, writing emails, and then building your resume, interview skills. So I've been working on that project, which I'm hopeful to launch in next few weeks with 15 to 20 students who are on the verge of getting into corporate or early career professionals. And if that works out well, yes, I'm planning to put it out there for everyone who could take benefit of it, as I did not get when I was, growing up. So it's a small way from my side to assist young professionals in India.
No, it's a very novel cause. I believe, Mitadru, that after going through this whole journey of yours, if you can give it back to the society, give back to the community in any way whatsoever that you can, I guess that's appreciated across, I believe, and with all the other professionals that you're working for, we actually hope that you achieve the goals that you're looking for. And to all our socially desi viewers, listeners, you guys can definitely check out Mitadru on LinkedIn. We would be putting down his LinkedIn profile in the show notes below, as well as on our website at sociallydesi.com. So, any of you who needs a good mentor, who needs guidance in their professional career, the pro bono coaching that Mitadru is doing would definitely help you out in some way or the other. So definitely check that out, connect with him, and of course, don't forget to add a note. Right? So, like we spoke, really important. So, Mitadru, before we wrap up the episode, one question for you. Uh,
Yes.
if you have, if you can go back, okay, few years and look at yourself young, just out of college and trying to get into the corporate job, what would be that one advice you would give to your younger self?
Yeah, if I can go back in time, which I know is not possible, literally, but advice I would give to my younger version would be just open to learning. Don't think you know everything. Seek out help. And if you have this attitude of a lifelong learner, you are all set. That would be my advice.
Perfect advice, I guess, Mitadru. And thank you again. Thank you for coming on the show. It was a pleasure having you. And I believe everyone out there listening to the show would have gained a lot of beautiful and interesting insights to help them maneuver themselves in their corporate careers. So thank you, Mitadru, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Anurag, and everyone in the Socially Desi team for having me. This is my first podcast, so thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I'm also expressing my humble gratitude to all the listeners because you could have done something else. You could have watched a show on Netflix, a movie, but you decided to listen to this podcast. So I'm thankful to all of you, and I wish you all the best. Be well, be happy. I know we are all going through difficult times, but this will shall pass. So if you look at history, we have conquered all the difficult times, and we will do this as well. So all the best.
So that wraps it up for today, folks. If you liked the episode, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and let's go viral. Remember, our weekly podcast features episodes on personal growth, mental health, relationships, business and entrepreneurship, and health and fitness. We would love to have Mitadru on our show again in the future to discuss more about the competitive world of the corporates. So, if you haven't yet done so, hit that subscribe button and go check out our website at sociallydesi.com. And as always, before I sign off, remember, life is black and white and everything in between.